Welcome to another edition of Patriots No Huddle, brought to you by PatsFans.com. Steve Balsherry, Mike Diabate, Derek Havens, your host as always. We are here to preview the upcoming game for the Patriots against the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot to discuss, a couple of things around the league, and then we'll go ahead and give our predictions as always. Before we do anything, Steve, how you doing, man?
Doing great. You know, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Patriots are tied for the best record in the NFL, which nobody saw that one coming. And then they have an opportunity to continue to win here against a team that's struggling right now this week with the Bengals, although they are very explosive and have the capability of putting a lot of points on the board.
Yeah, we're going to certainly touch on that point because that is something that I think is being talked about, but maybe not talked about enough. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. Mike, how you doing today, bud? Everything good?
I'm doing great, D. It's always a pleasure to join you guys on the microphone at any time to talk Patriots football. But when you're talking first place Patriots football, brings it to a whole new level. And Pats have a really good chance of extending that stay in first place this week. I know we're going to get into that a lot. A big matchup against the Bengals. This is going to be a fun one in Cincy.
So I want to rip through like two or three small things, and then we'll get right into the Bengals game. But two or three small things. So the first thing is right before we started the show, we're recording this Wednesday. We started a couple minutes late. That was my fault, about 12:15 Eastern time. And Brandon Cooks was just released. So we were having an off-air discussion because I had one or two people being like, oh, do you think the Patriots would, be interested? I was like, well, different regimes, now. And also, where's the space in the room? We were talking about, the waiver process before because I was getting clarification. And luckily, we have Mike on tap, so he was able to go ahead and fill me in. And because I get that some of the rules get convoluted there a bit. But I don't think Brandon Cooks is going to be somebody that the Patriots want to bring in. I could definitely see him going to some kind of contender. And I'm sure with him in the back, certainly the back corner of his career, he probably just wanted to get out of New Orleans, and they were just like, yeah, we're not going to hold you back. So, after the trade deadline, even though he's a vested veteran, does have to go through waivers. So, before anybody, asks, it has to go through that process. If they have a certain number of accrued service years before the trade deadline, then they don't have to. So that's kind of one of those things. And that was a thing that Belichick, Mike, that was the thing that Belichick used to use all the time back in the day. Like he would cut a veteran. I'm think of like a random name, like a Brandon Bolden. He would cut or something because he knows that he doesn't have to go through waivers, but he can also just be like, hey, go to your apartment for a week. I'll see you in a week. This is all kind of just like transactional stuff, so they can sneak certain people on. It's a little bit different, at this juncture of the season. The other thing that we were talking about, and Steve and I were talking about, that was kind of fascinating, was the CJ Dupree situation too, because Steve, who was the team that you said was interested potentially?
Well, there was rumors that the Bucs were, so I don't know.
So we're not, but that was just the rumor.
Mike Reese just put out that there was. Yeah, Mike Reese put out there was possibly a team interested in signing him to their active roster, so the Patriots protected their interest in him and signed him to the active roster, which pretty much tells you they have at least some hopes for this guy to be able to contribute. And he is an outstanding blocker. I thought, as I told you offline, I thought he was kind of an underrated, option in the passing game in Alabama. But, in the NFL, of course, that's a much different type of situation. But, I mean, I could conceivably see them having him active on game days as strictly a tight end blocker who some teams will have to at least account for him in the passing game.
Well, I think there's a couple things to rip off about this immediately. For one, let's go through the clerical stuff. Mike, if you're talking about a player that's signed, even at this juncture of the season, off another team's practice squad, the team that wants to sign them to their active roster needs to keep them a minimum of 3 weeks, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, they have to automatically go directly to their 53-man roster from the former team's practice squad. So that's a commitment. And once you make that commitment, they're there. They're going to be there for at least the long haul unless they're released and then they'll try to re-sign them through the practice squad. That's a commitment directly to the active roster. So if the Bucs were indeed interested in C.J. Dupree, the Patriots had no other alternative than to make sure that this guy was protected, that they did sign him to the 53-man roster and kept him in the Patriots fold. Now, he belongs to the Patriots for the remainder of the season, unless the Pats decide they want to release him at some point. But from what I hear and from what I've been hearing all along, Dupree is someone that has a lot of clout, or I shouldn't say clout, but he has a lot of backing in that locker room, in that coaching room. A lot of people are very impressed by the potential of this kid, not just because he's a blocker, but they see a lot of potential in short yardage field gains, which I think he's pretty adept at being able to do right now. If the Patriots needed to bring him in as a short yardage weapon, I think he can be effective. And they also see long-term potential in him being able to run routes and get into the field effectively. If you're going to shadow someone, Hunter Henry is one of the best route-running tight ends I've ever covered, both from my days covering the Chargers and now covering him as a member of the Patriots. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship, especially after this year, if they decide they're going to move on from Austin Hooper.
Yeah, I mean, I think tight end is one of those. There's so many holes on this team still, and I know that yes, we're all in a euphoric state because the Patriots are winning a lot of games and they're ahead of the schedule and all those things. But tight end is something that's definitely going to be a factor. And Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry aren't going to be on the team forever. Hunter Henry, Steve, might be one of the most consistently solid free agent signings that you're going to get from, I don't care if it's not even just the Patriots. I'm saying that in the NFL, free agency is not usually where you want to go ahead and spend some, a good amount of money, but basically for what he's been paid for his role in his team, he's been pretty consistently solid since the moment he was available a couple of years back.
Well, and again, I mean, that was one of the aspects of Bill Belichick, the GM, that everyone now loves to pile on.
Sure.
Bill was a master at signing those, I would guess you would call middle-class wide receivers, not the top tier guys, but those middle-class guys that are really good football players, fulfill a major role, and you can count on. And he did that multiple times with a lot of different guys. I think Hunter Henry will end up going down as one of the better ones that they signed in that kind of atmosphere, because he has been, I think you could make the argument, like you just said, the most consistent, solid, piece for a quarterback, regardless of who it is. Right now, it's Drake May, but before that, I mean, whoever was at quarterback for the Patriots, right? Hunter Henry's always been there. And, he's always been that option that, in case of emergency break glass option. And, he's been fantastic at that. And his numbers have proved that out. The same with Austin Hooper, right? I mean, those two have been fantastic. So, again, they're not going to be there forever. We know this. Father Time is undefeated. So, if Dupree is a guy that can, eventually work his way into that option, hey, I'm all for it. I was all for signing this guy from the start. So,
right. I still don't really understand why the Chargers let him go, but that's kind of a different conversation for a different time. I don't really get it. But the other thing I was going to mention, though, too, is look, with CJ Dupree coming on, to your guys' point, they obviously saw something in him or see something in him that they want. I'm not going to list this person by name, but he is a friend of the show. And I don't want to speak for him, which is why I'm going to keep it anonymous for now. But I mean, he told me going back all the way back in training camp that people were impressed with Dupree in that room and just his overall skill set. And I do think they want to develop that because I do think they see the writing on the wall. I could see a scenario where the Patriots keep Austin Hooper past the season. I think Hunter Henry will be here for another 2 or 3 years and probably finish his career here. I would think, just based on how it's kind of lining up. But I could see Hooper maybe staying for one more year, maybe not. But they're going to have to go ahead and invest in that position at some point, and they're going ahead and navigating the whole thing. The other thing too is that with him being such a good blocking, tight end, even if they just want to use him strictly as that big tight end or that sixth tackle, or however you want to go ahead and justify it. As the weather's getting colder and they're going to be running the ball more, we know they want to play physical. We know how excited they are with Travion Henderson. We know about what Ramondre can do when he's healthy. We knew kind of Mike Vrabel's MO. Maybe they're just thinking of it like, hey, not only can we see this guy in the future, but right now down the stretch, we could be using him and maybe saving some of our veterans instead of blocking in the passing game later. And they'll go ahead and just, find those matchups. Mike, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, Derek. That's a good point that I don't think enough people are making. Let's not forget that Milton Williams is down now for a minimum of 4 games. So if he's down for a minimum of 4 games, all of a sudden using Kyrios Tonga as a jumbo tight end or a sixth lineman doesn't necessarily look like the best option. You need him on that defense. You need him to continue to be that force in that defense. So you don't want to put him into situations where he is potentially on the block to get injured. That's a big problem for the Patriots if he goes down along with Milton Williams. So in order for him to be able to keep that, I think right now you look at Dupree as someone that can come in and be that sixth lineman, that jumbo tight end, and I think a consistent blocker all along. Ben Brown played that role a little bit, but you also run the risk of getting him injured, and you need him as a solid swing option in that interior if one of the guards or if Garrett Bradbury goes down. So this, to me, has a little bit more of a strategic feel to it when you look at it the second time around. I think the Patriots are looking at the depth right now on offense and on defense and saying, you know what, let's get guys in positions that we know they can succeed in, at least for the time being. And then once we get everybody back and healthy, then we can start moving players around the chessboard. But for right now, I think this may have a little more strategy to it than simply just protecting him and keeping him in bubble paper. I saw a couple of opinions go around this week that say that it didn't make too much sense. Well, use your eyes, use your common sense. You'll find that it does make plenty of sense if you do a little bit of work and just invest a little time into seeing where these pieces fit.
Those are the fantasy football people.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're talking about my people now. Okay, be careful.
Yeah. Well.
I like to think I'm a little bit of both. Real quick, just for the viewers at home or the listeners, the bye week for Milton Williams, is that included or is that not included?
No, I don't believe it is.
Yeah, I don't believe it is either.
It's not.
It's 4 games.
That was really more again for people that had the question, because I've seen some people ask that.
It's not.
So it sucks because Buffalo and the Ravens. I mean, that's going to be you would want him there for that. I guess the silver lining is that he could be there for the tail end stretch against 2 divisional opponents and going back, and you ramp him up slowly back into the playoffs. And Tonga has been one of the best steals they've had in a little while. You know who Tonga kind of reminds me of? This is kind of random, Steve. They're not the same player at all, but you know who I was thinking about this the other day? He kind of reminds me of when they signed Lawrence Guy, who was kind of like unsung and like he was on the defensive line, could do a lot of different things. And, again, different playing styles, but, relatively similar-ish positions and just kind of was one of those guys where you're like, why did they let this guy go for, what did they sign him for, $4 million or something like that? Mm-hmm. So, in terms of NFL money, pretty low, and I think they're going to try to wrap him up right away. And this is his opportunity to really go ahead and showcase what he can do because, the flip side of the business that you could also say, though, Steve, is that with Milton Williams sideline, this could either go one of 2 ways for the Patriots. Tonga has an opportunity to go ahead and make himself some serious money as he showcases himself as a full-time starter.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think he already has, but now he has.
I mean, he's already shown that this year he is one of those, under the radar, wonderful signings, right? Because again, last week we discussed this. I remember, at the time of this signing, a lot of people, fans and media, kind of chalked him up as a camp body when they signed him. And I think he's proven he's anything but that.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's been a really valuable piece offensively and defensively. So, I think, he's in line to make some cash next year.
No, I'm definitely with you on that. Where do we want to go next, guys? There's a couple different directions we could go. I guess, but Mike, why don't we just jet right over to just like the Bengals' initial thoughts? So, with I forget if it was you or Steve earlier in the show that said, they have the ability to put some points. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm most concerned about going into this game. Now, you do have some players kind of knocked down, which is a point that I'll bring up after this. But overall, they still have some good weapons on that team, and the Patriots have been pretty consistently in the mid-20s. So if this gets into a firefight, I think that's really where they're going to be kind of fighting with one hand behind their back. If you're telling me this is going to be kind of a back and forth game, but the total score is going to be like 27-23, I'll say, well, the Patriots, I feel pretty good about that. If we're talking about both teams are scoring or the Bengals hit like the 30-point margin, now I'm not feeling as confident. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, I think you're right on the money there. I think right now, if the Patriots are getting the true Cincinnati Bengals defense, ranked 32nd, I believe, against the run, and I think 28th or something overall. This team right now is not well suited to be able to stop what the Patriots do well. So the Patriots start to put points on the board. They can put the Bengals on their heels pretty quickly. Now, Bengals are going to be without the services of Jamar Chase. We know how important he is to that lineup. They're still going to have T. Higgins in there, so there's still a good amount of firepower that this team does have the available to make things happen and to keep the Patriots defense honest as well. And again, we're kind of in uncharted territory when it comes to this team because we don't know what this new look defense that has been installed by Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams is going to look like without Milton Williams in there. Yeah, they weathered the storm last week against the New York Jets. A lot of that is going on instinct. When a player goes down, player steps right in, and you don't really feel it as much. This is a full week of practice now without Milton, game planning without him, knowing he's not going to be there. The Bengals know he's not going to be there as well. So how do they attack this defense now? To me, I think this is going to be a chess match early on, kind of feeling out what each of these teams are going to do well. I know the Bengals' record doesn't really reflect it, but you can't take this team lightly. Even with the lack of star power they might be coming into this matchup with, they're still capable of stringing together big plays. And if they can do that, we've seen this Patriots team struggle when they give up points at times. So on paper and in theory, this is one the Patriots should take and maybe take easily. But I'm not willing to go out on that limb just yet because of all the other factors that are surrounding this game right now.
Especially when you take into account that they're probably going to spot the Bengals 7 points before, the Bengals' first series is over, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Let's call it what it is, right? I mean, they've proven it's more of a trend now than it is an outlier that they stink on the first defensive series of the game.
The crazy thing about that, Steve, is that they're 9-2, and we've seen that literally
right. But this is a very
out of 11
talented,
times, 9.
Yeah, this is a very talented offensive team. So I mean, this is like some of the other lesser teams that they've beaten, like the Jets. They can afford to give up 7 points to the Jets because they're not going to score a bunch of points on you down the stretch. And that goes with a couple of the other teams. However, Cincinnati's a little different in that aspect. So they can score. And, you just can't afford to here's 7 points and then let's get on with the football game. So
right.
that is a concern this week. Now, that being said, let's call it what it is. the Patriots could score a lot of points this week, and
Well,
they should.
Quig just commented.
Yeah.
He said Patriots could put up 40, and then he said Flacco's not mobile, but need to pressure on early and put pressure on early. And I agree with that 100%. I think they need to be super aggressive in this game.
That's where they miss Milton Williams. So.
Yeah, and that's where they miss. You definitely do, but maybe they get a little bit more aggressive. I could see Chase on having a nice week this week, but you're at your backup quarterback. You're down. You're starting. You're one of the best receivers, one of the best players in the league, with Jamar Chase being suspended, and defensively they are a total disaster, missing one of their top 2 defensive players, depending on how you want to go ahead and split it. So it's like there's an opportunity here for them to go ahead and kind of make a statement a little bit. Mike, Steve and I were talking about this off air, and I'm curious your opinion. I think that you can look at it from 2 trains of thought. Is it great as a sporting fan to be like, okay, are the Patriots and Bengals they're going head to head? Are they at full strength? And they are. And you want to like let's play in Cincinnati. You want to take down Burrow. You want to shut down Chase. You want to, lock out Henderson, whatever. But there's the other line of thought, though, where it's like, well, you have 3 of the best players on that team now not playing at key positions. And you are an opportunity right now where the Chiefs and the Ravens are sitting at 500. You're undefeated in the division. The Bills are reeling. It's wide open for you in the conference, really the league, but specifically the AFC and the AFC East. It's wide open for the Patriots to take it. So where do you fall in that line of thought? Would you rather see the team at their best, or were you just like, you know what? Let's just get to 10-2. Let's get to 11-2, hit the bye week, and then we'll worry about the back quarter and get into the postseason and see if they can make some noise.
Well, I think it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to the competitor,
I'm talking to you.
If you're talking to the competitor in me, I want a team at full strength. I want to say I went toe-to-toe with your best and I beat you. So in that regard, yeah, you do want to see the best of the best suit up, because you want to be able to say that you beat that team en route to whatever success you're going to have in the postseason. If you're talking to the pragmatist in me, you take the opportunity that's in front of you and you don't question it. If this is an opportunity for you to go 10-2 and keep stacking wins, especially in an AFC right now where it doesn't look like there's a dominant team out there that can really give you fits in the playoffs if you match up with them, I think the Patriots can give anybody a game right now, and I think they're proving that. You take the opportunity that's in front of you. Right now, I'm being a pragmatist, because I think that the Patriots need this win. I think that the Patriots need to continue to show that they're not going to be bullied. They're going to take care of business. They're going to win the games they're supposed to win, because if they drop this by any stretch of the imagination, the Patriots haters out there, both on a national media level and, of course, the social media cellar dwellers that are going to love this, all the anonymous accounts that, Brady hate and Patriots hate and all that, they're going to love to come out of the woodwork and really poke holes into this team. If I'm the New England Patriots, this is an opportunity to get a win. Your opponent is down. There's no shame right now in kicking them. That's business in the NFL. You have to play what's in front of you, and you can only play the players that the opposition suits up. So in that regard, it's not within the Patriots' control. Do your job. Do the best you can. If that is the case, I believe this iteration of Patriots, the way they are currently constructed today, is better than what the Bengals are going to trot out there on Sunday. And I think that's going to show in the final result.
And well,
go ahead, Steve.
I just wanted to add this, Mike. I think you hit the nail on the head with all the Patriots hated, because all this pearl clutching all of a sudden over, the Bengals are going to be so shorthanded. It's just playing into the Patriots with their weak schedule. I didn't hear one word about, the Bengals being shorthanded when they played Pittsburgh, right? Last week, or the weeks before that when Burrow's been out, they were struggling. Okay. I didn't hear none of that. Now, all of a sudden it's a thing because it's New England. That's and right. Everyone is so sick of seeing them win. They don't want to see it again. And this is that's why all this talk about the Patriots schedule. And look, nobody right now is showing that their schedule has been whatnot, right? I mean, some of the other teams haven't played a gauntlet either, and they're losing. So that's why the Patriots are on top right now. Some of these other teams, Kansas City, I mean, they're 1-4 on the road. So I don't want to hear about the Patriots schedule or who their opponent is shorthanded with. Hey, yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Normally, I want to see a team at their best, just so you can say there's no what ifs. But at this stage of the season, hey, you play who's in front of you, and that's the name of the game. So.
I would say though too, just for both of those points that you guys made, I would say that I feel like it's very different to say like I'm okay with the Patriots going against kind of a reeling, limping Bengals team at this juncture. If you're telling me maybe it's the Buffalo game coming out of the bye, I might change my answer. I might say I want Buffalo at full strength. I want the Patriots at full strength. And if the Patriots can sweep Buffalo, that will pretty much put the the final nail in the coffin there for them and kind of rip out, a divisional opponent's heart, so to speak. So to me, those are two very different things. To me, this is, look, it's a league of attrition. It's injuries all points of the year. The guys been going at it for over 4.5 months, given training camp, OTAs, everything else. Like, now it's time to go ahead and, you stack up that easy win against a conference opponent, take care of business, hopefully, versus the Giants, get by, go in your bye, and then two of probably the three biggest obstacles for the Patriots coming out of the bye in Buffalo and Baltimore, respectively. Now you go ahead and see if you can go toe-to-toe, sweep up against the division, and then go into the playoffs and see if you can make some noise. But to me, facing Buffalo at full strength for that moment in time and what it's going to carry versus the Bengals this week, to me, are very different things that you can kind of put in two different buckets.
Well, I think it can act as a precursor for the playoffs as well. I mean, if the Patriots go up against the Buffalo team that is decimated by injury, those questions are going to continue. Yeah, they've done a great job with an easy schedule up to this point, but what are they going to do in the playoffs when all the bets are off, when everyone's pulling out all the stops to make sure that you get a victory? Can they stand toe-to-toe with a team that is as hungry as they are, that wants it as bad as they do, and that is willing to go that extra mile to get the win because it's win or go home in the playoffs? So if you have a battle-tested game, like you said, where you're getting one of the best teams in the league at full strength and you've gone toe-to-toe with their best and beat them, that says a lot. And it does a lot for your internal confidence as well. As a player, having that knowledge that you've beat someone at their best and that this team is a team that is revered as one of the best in the league, that means an awful lot. Don't kid yourself. The Patriots are going to be the reverse in that case, too. For a lot of these teams that are playing them, all of a sudden now, they're among the NFL elites again. So they're going to have that target on their back. There's going to be no grace period for the New England Patriots where people are wondering, are they for real or are they not for real? Too many people have seen too many Lombardi trophies hoisted in this area over the last 20 years. I understand it's a different coach. It's a different quarterback. It's a different regime. But people still remember the Patriots as a juggernaut. They want to try to knock them off the pedestal before they get back up. They'll have a pretty big target on their back heading into the playoffs. And the Patriots know it.
Steve, anything you want to add on that?
No, and look, the people that are spouting this are forgetting the Patriots are coming in shorthanded, right? Ramondre Stevenson, Milton Williams, Kayshon Boutte. Yeah. So, I don't get this. It just goes to the point that it's because it's New England, okay? Because, nobody else, you don't hear this about anybody else, okay? And they're coming in shorthanded too. So, it is what it is, granted. And look, the fact that Jamar Chase is there isn't an injury. It was because of his own stupidity. And he's a guy I think is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great football player. But that was stupid. And I think it's really ugly, too. I mean, when I first saw it, because I've never been a big fan of Jalen Ramsey. I'll just say it, but I was thinking, Ramsey's being a moron. But, when you spit in somebody's face, all bets are off.
Yep.
And after seeing that, I don't blame Ramsey one bit, because that's one of the most vile things I think you can do. And why is this becoming, I know it's going off on a tangent. Why is this becoming a thing all of a sudden in the NFL, right? This is the second time this has happened this year. I mean, I think that's disgusting.
I just think it's crazy that Jamar could go ahead in this day and age with all the cameras, not only forget just the broadcasting cameras and the TV version of everything. Forget all that. Just look at even people's phones in the stands. I mean, how can you sit there and say no, I didn't do this when it's clear as day. It's clear as day. And if I would, I mean, honestly, I thought Jalen Ramsey was cooler than I would have been because I would have been throwing haymakers immediately. So, because I do agree with you, Steve. It is one of those situations that it is incredibly disrespectful. In so many ways. Forget just as a man if you want to make that or competitive juices with an athlete. Talk about a human being aspect. That's just vile.
Mm.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, it's just, I think that's one of the showstoppers. I mean, there's a lot of times when you can turn the other cheek and should, but that ain't one of them.
No,
I'm just going to say it there. And again, I have all the respect in the world for Chase as a football player. I think he's fantastic.
I mean, it was a dumb decision. Like just play, just because it was a bad decision doesn't mean he's a bad person or whatever.
No, but it was very stupid, and it cost him.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into a couple other things. I want to get some final thoughts on the Bengals game for sure. We'll circle back to that, and we can give those thoughts when we give our predictions. Is there any before we jump into our random 3 games for the slate this week? Is there anything beside from the Bengals game that we wanted to bring up? Is there anything that either one of you have?
Well, the one thing that's concerning to me a little bit, they have Chase Brown, who I think is really good. And the past 2 weeks, the Patriots' run defense has not been very good. They gave up 140 yards, against the Bucks, and they gave up 120 something against the Jets. They've been really, really stout against the run, and I think they need to, buckle down this week and make the Bengals offense one-dimensional. And I think it's going to be a big test, with Brown this week, especially since they have the options of going play action passing because of all their weapons in the passing game. Yosevas, T. Higgins, they have weapons. So even
What do you think they do with Yosevas, Steve? Do you think they would you put since Jamar's out, would you just put Gonzo on T and then try to put Carlton Davis on
Yosevas? That's how I think they'll probably address this week.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Anyway, let's jump into some of these predictions here. A couple of really interesting games this week. I think the first one I want to start with is the Colts at Kansas City. I think there's been a lot of narratives, guys, about Kansas City going on right now. And look, at some point, you're not going to win it every single year. You're going to have some reset years. We saw it with the Patriots for a long period of time where they would have several good years. They'd be competitors, but there might be a year where they just didn't have it all together. This is starting to feel like that for Kansas City for me. It's just not easy to just waltz right into a dynasty. And not that they haven't accomplished a bunch. And I would say the same thing about the Chiefs that I would have said about the Patriots in the past. You can't when you have the best player in the league more often than not in Patrick Mahomes, and you have one of the better NFL coaches, you're going to be in it until you're mathematically eliminated. So I also am still not, and I might go down swinging on this take, still not a big believer in the Colts. I think Jonathan Taylor's having a hell of a year. I think that they're doing a lot of good things over there, but I do think it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they handle things down the stretch, because we talk about the Patriots as being a surprise, and nobody having what they've done on their bingo card. I would say the Colts are being that same conversation too, for me. So I'm going to take the Chiefs because they're at home this week, guys. And I am fascinated to see how it plays out. I do think the X factor could be if Jonathan Taylor just runs wild, because then you could go ahead and just ice out Patrick Mahomes, keep him on the sideline. And there's no doubt that Jonathan Taylor is absolutely in not only the MVP conversation, but also Offensive Player of the Year too. So, Steve, what do you think about the game?
Yeah, the other thing that I'm looking at this week, one is I want to see the Colts win. I do. I'll just be
Sure.
I'll just be honest there. However, I don't think they're going to. And I think, look, Daniel Jones has been fantastic this year, but the last 2 weeks we're starting to see some of that bad habits of the Giants creeping in. Okay, he hasn't been good in the past 2 weeks, and I think that Steve Spagnuolo's defense, they're going to try to pressure him into making a bunch of mistakes, as he has been. I see Kansas City winning this one by 10 at home. I'd much rather see the Colts win by 10 because I'm not a fan of the Chiefs, but it is what it is. But I guarantee you there'll be a couple of officials' calls on this one that we'll be talking about after the game's over. And it ain't going to be for the Colts.
Mike, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the wrong team that you want to upset. These guys love to blow the whistle on people. I mean, there's no question about it. Back to the Deflategate days. No, all kidding aside. I mean, this is like one of those where the New England Patriots teams are like, can't just both teams lose and we'll be happy with it. I agree with everything. Yeah, I agree with everything that you guys are saying, though. There seems to be something still lurking in the heart of the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they have not been the Chiefs that we've all come to know and loathe over the course of the last few years. This team still has the ability to be able to hang with anyone, and I think you're going to see that this weekend. I think it's going to be a gritty game. I don't think necessarily it's going to be a double-digit win for Kansas City. I think they may have to scrape and claw a little bit, but they're not going to lose this game on their home field. I've got Kansas City winning this by a touchdown, not necessarily going 10, but I do have them winning by a touchdown. And I think that they're going to be able to show people, at least, if we're on your schedule in the latter part of the season, this is not going to be a pushover. We're not going to roll over. We've still got arguably the best player in the game playing quarterback for us. He may not be playing at the same level that he has the last couple of years, and they may have taken a step back in a lot of areas, but still got Andy Reid coaching. You still got some savvy defense left in the mind of Steve Spagnuolo. I think they put it all together, and they beat the Colts this weekend.
So the next game I want to go to is the Eagles at Cowboys. Another, NFC East matchup here in the afternoon slot. Yeah, the Cowboys probably don't have it all together, to say the least. The Eagles, I would still put in one of the quote unquote more dominant teams of the league, even though I don't really think that I don't really think there's any team that's like super special. I do think it's a wide open race. I mean, but it's hard not to give your hat tip to the Eagles and what they've put together with Howie Roseman and everything else that they've built from a top to bottom roster standpoint. I think that the Eagles are a better team. I think that the difference in this big game is going to be just what the Eagles want to do with not only their defensive front, which is always a threat, and also their ability. Saquon has really added a totally different element that makes them so difficult to defend. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I had the Eagles winning this one on the road, guys. Probably, I'm sure it'll be probably a one possession game. I would have to think it's going to be relatively tight. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I got the Eagles winning this. I actually have the Eagles winning this by 10, ironically. Yeah, I think Sirianni comes in with a smart game plan. I think that the way the Eagles defense is matched up, the Cowboys will come in. They'll give them a game. It'll be close for a little while. But again, we're talking the Dallas Cowboys in mid to late November, heading into December. Completely different animal as opposed to the Cowboys that you see early on in September and October. So, yeah, I really think that the Eagles are just a better team here on all three phases, and I think they show that. I think they get the job done I think they get the job done this weekend.
Yeah, Steve?
Yeah, I like the Eagles as well. That defense has been playing really, really well the past couple of weeks. I think the last two games they've held their opponents to 10 or under, points wise. So even though Dallas's offense, I mean, they have a very talented offensive team. They've struggled defensively, although they looked a lot better, their last particular game. But I think they're going to have their hands full with the Eagles this week. And I mean, is there a team that's 8-2 that has gotten more scorn than the Eagles have this year? I mean, you think the Boston sports media is bad? Man, Philly has been roasting this team, and they're 8-2. There's not a lot to complain about, but apparently there is. But I think the Eagles. I'm with you, Mike. I think it's 10 points.
Next game I want to go to. This is kind of an interesting one. I know the Buccaneers' shine has kind of come off the last couple weeks, but they're playing in Los Angeles against the Rams. I would say right now, guys, if you're asking me who's like the top three for the MVP ballot, Matt Stafford, Drake May, Jonathan Taylor. Those are the big three right now. And I'm sure Jonathan Taylor won't win. I only say that because they usually give it to a quarterback. You can be upset with that if you want to be, but he'll win Offensive Player of the Year, and we'll all say kumbaya. But with Drake May and Matthew Stafford, I think it's going to go down to how they play out these next few weeks. And the Rams are playing really good football right now. I mean, speaking of teams, I don't want to say that they're undervalued. I think that they are still not being taken as seriously as they probably need to be. And I think that a lot of people look at, we talk about the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills. Well, at what point can we be talking about this a week before Thanksgiving and say that, well, maybe the teams that we thought were going to be really elite are good, just not great. And maybe that there's a surprise team like the Rams. And I think that they're kind of going a little bit unsung right now. I think that they are very efficient offensively. I think that defensively they can get after you, make some turnovers. They kind of fly around to the ball. McVay is very smart in how he likes to put guys in certain positions. I mean, I have the Rams winning this one, but I do think it will be interesting these last few weeks, if you care about this sort of thing, to watch Stafford's performance and Drake May's performance, because I do think it's going to be a two-headed race for that MVP trophy at the end of the season. Steve, over to you.
Yeah, I like the Rams in this one. I think right now, I think you could make the argument the Rams are playing as well as anybody, right, in the league right now. Offensively, defensively. So I like them in this game. And, a lot of it will come down to coaching. And last week, my goodness, I mean, I was watching that Bucs game. And, excuse me, I have people. There you go. They're making noise outside. I had the door open because it's such a beautiful day. Anyway, yeah, I look back at the Bucs, right? And they go for two twice, and they're running the ball for over 200 yards, and they don't run the ball either time. And then 3rd and 2 at the end of the game, they're down by 5, and they what do? They throw and punt. And I'm like, you have 2 chances to make 2 yards and go down and win the game, and you're running the ball so effectively. I thought that was terrible. And that takes any kind of, optimism I would have as rooting for the Bucks in this one right out of the window. I think the Rams win this one easily.
Agreed. I think the Rams right now are kind of creeping up on everybody, and that really shouldn't be the case. I mean, the Rams have been a formidable force for the last few years, and you got to give Sean McVay and that staff an awful lot of credit for kind of reinventing the wheel a little bit this year without Cooper Kupp and a lot of the mainstays that have been on that team, on that roster for a number of years. Losing arguably one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and Aaron Donald, and still continuing to play at a high level. That's a testament to the guys that are in that locker room. And Stafford's been as good as anyone this year. Probably is the front runner right now for MVP, simply because of the resume that he brings to the table. And that's in no way lessening what Drake May has done in New England. But right now it is. I think the Rams are playing as well as anyone. They're certainly playing some of the best ball in the NFC that I've seen. And I think that continues. I think the Bucs will give them all they can handle. They'll come in wanting to play their best ball, and I think they will, but I think the Rams are just that much better, where even if it is a clash of the Titans, so to speak, no pun intended, these two teams, I think the Rams come out on top no matter what.
All right, gentlemen. I think we headed right over into the Patriots-Bengals game. I don't know who wants to go first. Why don't we do this? Let's do our predictions, then we'll get final thoughts, and then Mike, you can take us out. So I'll start. For me, I think the Patriots are going to go ahead and take care of business this week. I know it's on the road, shorthanded team. I think they're going to attack Flacco and be very, very aggressive with him because he really can't move. There is a little bit of a concern with that rushing defense, but I do think that they're going to be able to match up okay with Jamar out in the secondary. I think that Drake May and the offense will be able to put up enough points. Again, I am going to worry if it starts getting to close to that 30 mark, because that to me is just not really the strong suit of this New England Patriot team. So I think the Patriots take care of business. Let's call it 27-23. I think it could be a bigger spread than that at the end of it, but I could see a backdoor cover for the Bengals for some garbage time potentially. But I do think the Patriots extend their record to 10-2. Steve?
Yeah, and to me, I'm close to you, but I have them winning 34-23 because I do believe this Bengals defense is really, really weak. And I see this Patriots team as look, they haven't played a 60-minute game yet on offense. They take their foot off the gas. I think they don't do that this week. So Elvis and I, as you can see, right? Elvis and I are going 34-23. I think Drake May finally goes over 300 yards and throws 3 touchdowns.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. But all kidding aside, folks, yeah, I'm in agreement with my brethren here. The New England Patriots will take advantage of a weak Cincinnati defense, and they're playing the team that is being put out in front of them, and I think they will be able to weather that storm. The one thing that I do want to circle back on, and that wouldn't surprise me, with regard to covering T. Higgins and with regard to covering Yosevich, I think the Patriots may actually take a page out of the Bill Belichick book. I think they may put Christian Gonzalez on Yosevich, try to shut him down and double team T. Higgins, maybe with a Carlton Davis, have in that regard. And because of that, it gives you the opportunity to shut both down. I think if you put Gonzo on Higgins, it automatically is going to shut down that top option. But I think Yosevich is capable of beating that double team. So I think if the Patriots want to be able to try to shut down your star, I think that might be the way to do it. So keep a sharp eye out for that, folks. If you start seeing Christian Gonzalez shadowing Yosevich an awful lot, you'll know why they're doing it. It's because they're blanketing and they're double teaming T. Higgins. That could be the best way to stop both of those guys from hurting you on Sunday. But bottom line, no matter what, I think the Patriots will find a how shall we say, good rhythm in the Queen City to be able to get this one done. I like the Patriots at the end of the day by a final of 28-20.
There you go. We got Chris chiming in. Patriots 24, Bengals 17. Quig chiming in. He's got 44-13. Quig, I want whatever you're smoking, man. All right, pass that along over here.
That's what I want to see. What Quig is predicting is what I want to see.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess final thoughts for me, Steve, we'll go to you next, and then Mike, your final thoughts and take us out. I guess final thoughts for me is, again, it sounds like we're kind of repeating ourselves a little bit here, but I do really, I feel very confident in this year more than really in recent years past. It does feel kind of wide open. And look, if you're a Patriots fan that thinks that they're going to be able to make some serious noise in the playoffs, I can't really tell you that you're wrong, because right now they continue to win. And is it perfect? No. But you're seeing leaps and bounds from your second-year quarterback, and you're seeing what Vrabel's entrenched. So I can't tell you that you're wrong. I would say I don't like to be the guy that's like, okay, well, let's I'll temper our expectations, because that's not what a fan is. Like, a fan is, for a fanatic, who is someone who is just a do or die, ride or die, however you want to classify it, for your team. And I think that we're all seeing where the Patriots are going to. Whether they hit that point or not, I think that they're already getting close to a lot of exceeding our expectations. I don't want to speak for the two of you gentlemen or anyone who's listening, but I mean, I said before the season, all I wanted them to do was win 9 wins. So they've already won 9 wins, and we still got several games to go. And they have a chance, I think, at legitimately potentially hosting a playoff game, which would be, huge for them. And we're seeing development. We're seeing some of these things. So I guess I'm just curious to see some of these bigger matchups down the stretch. This is always right around Thanksgiving. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, they used to talk about this all the time. This is when you put the gas pedal to the floor, and and we're going to see who separates themselves from the men from the boys. And I'm curious to see if the Patriots are going to rise to the occasion, because they have ultimately exceeded expectations from this point, or to this point, excuse me. Steve, to you.
Yeah, and look, this week, again, it's just about going on the road, taking care of business, beating a team you should beat. The Bengals have struggled all year long. I think Joe Flacco has, come in and played extremely well, considering, he had, been cast aside by the Cleveland Browns, right? But at the same time, look, this team is starting to really get their confidence going. I think this game should be their best offensive output of the season, and there's no reason why it should not be. I just think they need to take care of business. I think they will, with Mike Vrabel at the helm here. They're not looking past Cincinnati in this one. I think they get it done, and then we'll be 10-2. And who would have thought that? I mean, that's crazy thoughts, right? But let's call it what it is, and that's why you play the games, though, and it should be very entertaining regardless.
Absolutely. And the New England Patriots have some statistical marks that they'll be shooting for this weekend as well, folks. A win this week at Cincinnati not only puts the Patriots at 6-0 on the road this year, which is remarkable. Another thing I don't think a lot of us saw coming when it comes to the prowess that this team has showed. They will extend the Patriots' winning streak to 9 straight. Patriots have had streaks of at least 9 straight wins, folks, this season, courtesy of our friends over at Patriots.com. They put these stats together for us. 3 previous times in team history with a 12-game winning streak in 2003, a 16-game streak in 2007. We all know how that one ended, and a 10-game winning streak in 2015. So the New England Patriots, going back to the dynasty days of dominance, if they're able to get this job done, like my good friends Derek and Steve said, take care of business, play the team in front of you, solid offense, solid defense, mistake-free special teams, and the Patriots will be looking at their 10th win of the 2025 NFL season. Folks, we want to hear what you have to say about this. If you're watching us live or if you're watching us on a replay, drop a comment in the section below. We'd love to hear from you and your game predictions heading into Week 12. And, of course, we'll be here to wrap it all up and give all of the analysis to you right here on Patriots No Huddle. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow the Pats Fans channel on YouTube so you do not miss a single second of the action. On behalf of my Patriots paisan, Steve Balistrieri, my good friend, the great Derek Havens, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again next time on Patriots No Huddle.